Hello, everyone. My name is Demetrius Harmon. I'm a financial coach. I own Harmon Financial Coaching. I help my clients with budgeting, getting out of debt, saving money, increasing their financial literacy, and definitely building wealth. All right. So, without any further ado, I want to tell you about 4 financial red flags that you should be on the lookout for. These are very important. I could have named more, but I just kind of stopped with these. So, financial red flag number one is that you guys don't have any conversations about money at all. You say, well, what do you mean by that? I literally mean you guys just don't talk about money. You don't talk about credit cards. You see things, but you just don't discuss it. All right, that's a big red flag. You do not want to be in a relationship where you guys just don't talk about money, because that's when you get those nasty surprises. You end up getting married, and oh, by the way, I have $70,000 student loans. I have a shopping addiction. So, normally I carry about $12,000 on my store credit cards. I'm comfortable with consumer debt. These are all the things that you will not know unless you talk about it. I know it may sound crazy. You're like, well, how is that possible? You'd be surprised. It happens. It happens way too often. It happens a lot more than a lot of people are willing to admit. So if you do not talk about money, that is financial. That's house on fire. Sound the alarms. You need to figure this thing out. So that's financial red flag number one. You don't have any conversation about money, which is a great segue for number two. Number two, if you have conversations about money, they turn into fights. They turn into money fights. All right, so you went from maybe one couple, they don't have any financial talks at all, and then the second couple, every time they talk about money, it turns into a fight every single time, right? So what do you do about that? You have to sit down and say, hey, sweetheart, I love you, and we can't do this. In particular, I've been married for 12 years, so I want to talk to someone that's thinking about getting married right now. Maybe they're already engaged, so we got a young couple, you know, and they're thinking about getting married, and they're totally different. So the one person is fighting to always be a saver, the other person always fighting to be a spender, and it just turns into money fights. And sometimes these money fights get really nasty, and that's money fight is one of the main things that will derail a relationship and a marriage. So they're very serious. So you have to get to that point where you can talk about money and not fight about money. I would suggest sit down with a financial coach. They can help you. They can be that neutral third party. They have the expertise regarding money, but then they also can tell you how money affects people from a relationship standpoint. It's something that is very underrated, and like I said, it will sink a ship in a heartbeat. And this ship meaning your relationship or your marriage. So if you can't talk about money without fighting, I would be very concerned. All right, number three, and this is one that I'm very passionate about. If you are with someone who goes from job to job to job to job to job to job, be very concerned. And I'm not talking about someone that's switching careers and things of that nature. That's expected. But I'm talking about every single time if management changes, or so and so left, or I didn't like this job, I didn't like the fact that they didn't have overtime, and they just always leave. Be very concerned about that, in particular if you are not married, because what that tells me from a marriage standpoint and from a financial coach standpoint, which is obviously what I am, I'm going to look at that person and say, what's going to happen when you get married and you don't like a job? It's very similar to sports. You're going to practice how you play. If you are comfortable with leaving a job, like I've heard of, this is like true story. I've heard of people being in a relationship and they come home and say, hey, I quit. They're like, what? What do you mean? Like, what, you quit smoking? They're like, no, I quit my job. Like, wow, really? You didn't tell me that? So this stuff really happens. So be very aware if you see someone hopping from job to job to job. And of course, it goes without saying, someone who doesn't work. I mean, that just, I don't think I need to even mention that, right? Someone who doesn't work, that's it's a whole nother conversation. If they're not working, then that's a red flag. That's a 15-yard penalty. So like I said, that goes without saying. All right, so my fourth one is this. If they have student loans, they are comfortable with those student loans. I'm going to say it again. If they have student loans, they're comfortable with those student loans. They have no plans on paying them off. Because they're comfortable with it, they're not trying to evict it from their life. They're fine with it. And maybe those student loans, those letters that you get drive you crazy, but your partner is just like, just kind of casual about it. Be very, very cautious. Be very careful when you have this conversation with them. But I would sit down, grab them by their hand, light a candle, and I'd say, hey, what are your plans for your student loans? I know it recently was in the news about the whole student loan forgiveness has been taken off of the budget. I said from the very beginning, you don't wait for a signature in D.C. Don't wait for some type of legislation to pass. Go out there, be proactive, be your own advocate, come up with a plan, get rid of that student loan. Don't play around with it. I know we can have different conversations about debt. Everybody looks at debt differently, but here's the thing. Bottom line, this is a fact. No matter what your opinion is about debt, when you go to tally up someone's net worth, it is what you own minus what you owe. So that student loan is going to go against your net worth. All right. So hopefully there's some people out there who are on a path to being a millionaire. So you want to figure out how to reduce your debt so that way you can be a millionaire and move on to the next level of your financial journey. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and that's my time. Take care, God bless, and remember, change your mindset, grow your money. All right, take care, bye.